Welcome to this explainer. So let's kick things off today with a quick, kind of fun thought experiment. Have you ever just looked at a plant soaking up the sun and thought, man, I wish I could just stand outside, catch some rays, and magically be full? Well, unfortunately, unlike plants, human beings can't just absorb sunlight for energy. We actually have to work for it. We have to eat. But how does that food we eat actually become a part of our physical body? Why do we chew? And what exactly happens to that bite of food after we swallow it? Today, we're going to answer all of those questions by breaking down the complete journey of human nutrition. Here's our exact roadmap for today. We'll be looking at how humans get energy, the 5 steps of Holozoic nutrition, digesting starting in the mouth, peristalsis and the esophagus, what goes on inside the human stomach, and finally, we'll wrap up with some key board exam questions to make sure you're totally prepped.
All right, Section 1, How Humans Get Energy.
Let's frame our need for energy as a biological problem that our bodies have, successfully solved. There's this fundamental divide in nature. On one side, we have plants. Plants are autotrophs. That prefix auto means self, meaning they can actually prepare their own food using sunlight through photosynthesis. But on the flip side of this comparison, we have human nutrition. Because we aren't autotrophs, we have to rely on ready-made food from other organisms, whether that's eating plants directly or eating animals that ate those plants. So biologically, we are known as heterotrophs.
And this brings us to a really crucial definition. Heterotrophic nutrition is the mode of nutrition in which organisms obtain ready-made food from other organisms, because they cannot prepare their own food. The big takeaway here is that this doesn't just apply to humans. Dogs, cats, lions, cows, all of these animals rely on this exact same mode of heterotrophic nutrition.
Moving right along, Section 2, the 5 steps of Holozoic nutrition.
Narrowing our focus down from the broad animal kingdom, humans follow what is known as Holozoic nutrition. You're definitely going to want to grab a pen for this because examiners absolutely love testing this definition. Holozoic nutrition is a type of nutrition involving the complete journey of food inside the body through a specific 5-step process. It's not just about the act of eating, it's about the entire biological life cycle of a meal, right from the start to the very finish.
So let's walk through this process step by step. Step 1 is ingestion, which is simply taking food into the body through the mouth. Without this, well, nothing else happens. Step 2 is digestion. You see, the food we ingest contains these large, complex molecules that our blood can't just absorb directly. I mean, a whole chapati cannot directly enter your bloodstream, right? It has to be broken down into simple, soluble substances like glucose. Step 3 is absorption, where those newly simplified nutrients finally pass into the bloodstream. And that mostly happens in the small intestine. Step 4 is assimilation. This is where the magic really happens. Those absorbed nutrients are transported to cells all over your body to be used for energy, growth, repair, and storage. And finally, step 5 is egestion. Because not all food is useful, the undigested waste is successfully removed from the body. And there you have it, those 5 steps define the complete Holozoic journey.
Section 3, Digestion starts in the mouth.
Okay, now that we've got our conceptual blueprint down, let's trace the actual anatomical journey of the food. Keep this physical timeline in mind as we follow a bite of food down the digestive tract. At T0 seconds, it hits the mouth. Within just about 5 seconds, it's traveling down the esophagus. And then it spends anywhere from minutes to hours being processed in the stomach. We're going to start right at the very beginning, the mouth.
The absolute first physical action that happens is your teeth cutting and crushing the food. Now, while that seems super simple, you absolutely must memorize the formal textbook term for this: mastication. Mastication reduces food into smaller particles, which vastly increases the surface area and just makes it so much easier for your body to chemically digest later on down the line. While your teeth are busy masticating, your tongue is actively mixing that crushed food with saliva. And what's really fascinating is what's actually inside that saliva. You have 3 pairs of salivary glands producing this incredible enzyme called salivary amylase, also known as ptyalin. This enzyme immediately kicks off the chemical digestion of starch, converting it into simple sugars like maltose. Actually, this is exactly why if you take a plain piece of bread or rice and chew it for a really, really long time, it starts tasting slightly sweet. It's literally chemistry happening right there on your tongue. Section 4, Peristalsis and the Esophagus. So the food is chewed and mixed, you swallow, and we move our chronological journey right down the food pipe. But once it's in the esophagus, gravity isn't the only thing pulling your food down. In fact, your digestive tract relies on a process called peristalsis. This is the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of muscles that powerfully pushes food forward. This is another highly tested definition you really need to lock in. To truly appreciate how strong peristalsis is, think about this. Because it's a muscular wave actively pushing the food, even if you were hanging completely upside down, peristalsis would still successfully force that food up into your stomach, no gravity required.
All right, section 5, inside the human stomach.
The food has successfully made it down the pipe, and we arrive at the stomach, which basically acts as a powerful muscular mixing bag. I want to slow the pacing down drastically right here. If you are taking a board exam, this is your ultimate cheat sheet. You need to memorize these functions because they perfectly map out the exact chemistry examiners are looking for. The stomach secretes 3 main things. First, hydrochloric acid, or HCl. This serves 3 vital functions. It makes the stomach medium acidic, it kills any harmful bacteria present in the food, and it activates digestive enzymes. Second, the stomach secretes the pepsin enzyme, which relies on that acidic environment to begin breaking down proteins into simpler substances. And third, it secretes mucus. Now, looking at that last secretion, mucus, brings up a really common, totally fascinating student doubt. If the stomach is full of highly corrosive hydrochloric acid that's actively breaking down chunks of food and killing bacteria, why doesn't that same acid just destroy our internal organs? Well, the answer is that thick protective layer of mucus lining the inner walls of the stomach. Without it, the acid could quite literally digest the stomach itself. It is just a perfect biological defense system.
Section 6, Key Board Exam Questions.
We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, so to ensure absolute retention, let's do a quick rapid-fire review of the most critical concepts. If you're aiming for top marks, I highly encourage you to pause this explainer right here and test yourself. Can you define holozoic nutrition? Can you list ingestion, digestion, absorption, assimilation, and egestion? Do you remember exactly how salivary amylase breaks down starch? Can you explain those rhythmic waves of peristalsis? And can you list the 3 functions of HCl, along with the protective role of mucus? If you can confidently answer these, you are incredibly well prepared and totally exam ready for this section. But hold on a second, we've only made it to the stomach. Digestion is really only half complete at this stage. We haven't even touched on where that massive step of absorption actually takes place. So, what exactly happens when this highly acidic, partially digested food mixture finally leaves the stomach and enters the small intestine? How do the liver and pancreas get involved to finish the job? Well, that's the fascinating puzzle we'll be unraveling in our next explainer. Keep studying hard, stay curious, and I will see you next time.